20 years ago or whatever, but it's like, and then now it's totally all on the other. My point here is, if I would have known, God, I would have been in gold and silver. I mean,
Me too.
Because I really didn't know completely, when I was your age, how the Federal Reserve and this system is working,
Well, on one end, man, I feel kind of blessed that I've come across this information, that I've been so successful, I guess, in my quote-unquote career in warning people. But I live paycheck to paycheck. I'm not rocking any gold and diamonds. I have a very small amount of silver. I mean, in like the lower hundreds of dollars worth of silver, and that's all I've got, And I wish that I had some money, or at least listened in 2003 when I first really hardcore started listening to the Alex Jones show, outside of the documentaries and the other material, and he was saying buy gold at $300 an ounce. Well, gold at $300 an ounce seemed like extremely expensive to me at that point. It's at $950. Right. I mean, wake up, people. I mean, wake up. And as far as the New World Order thing goes, Mike, I was also one of those guys that maybe didn't trust the establishment, knew about the JFK assassination and things like that. But when I was told about the quote-unquote New World Order, I was so brainwashed. I was like, dude, that's a wrestling group. That's Hulk Hogan. That's what that is. And that's what the establishment wanted me to believe. And I'm making that point in Invisible Empire. I'm going to show some old New World Order wrestling clips and how people who even brought this stuff up back in the day, they were just labeled crazies. Mike, I thank you so much for the call. Keep it up. The fight's not over, my man. Greg in Texas. Greg, you're on the line. Oh, we're having some technical difficulties? All right, Greg, you're on the line.
Can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
Cool. Hey, I just wanted to run through, I had 2 points. The first one is about the economy. Everybody, we all kind of agree that it's a sucker's market out there, and they're just, inflating a little bit so people get back in, and then they're going to take the bottom out of it. And as far as how that might happen, I kind of have an idea. I think it might be 1207. HR 1207 might be the way that you do that. Because if you do that, like if you open up the Fed's books and you look at like how many dollars there are in circulation, and because of the TARP bailout, that number has increased, maybe tripled or quadrupled even.
Probably quadrupled, maybe more.
Well, yeah, so then you open up the books, and now you know exactly how many dollars are out there. So when you know how many dollars are out there, then like with that new knowledge, you have to adjust the value that you have your dollars in. So you can evaporate like 75% of the value right there. And we know that value destruction is a part of the goal, like with, the bulldozing of cities and whatnot.
You know what, though? I think that would be detrimental to their plan because they want to do things so incrementally that they're able to build up their infrastructure. I think that may be even a blow to the power elite, the establishment, if you do that. But I don't put it past them that if they do audit the Fed and they are going to come out with the numbers, they would set up kind of a back infrastructure for when that happens, when the economy is blown out. In other words, be ready with SDR units or pounds or euros to buy up all the infrastructure that will basically be available overnight, kind of like the crash of 29. So that is a possibility, but I don't know if they really want that mode because I think they want to ride out this Federal Reserve thing for as long as they can. And I think they want to keep the Federal Reserve in some way, shape, or form so that they can kind of amalgamate it into the World Bank and IMF. Those are valid points. What else you got for me?
Well, the other thing is it has to do with the music choices. I'm a big fan of the show. I love the content. I think you do a real good job of tackling content and being factual. But as far as the music goes, I think that it would be pretty cool if you would use like less mainstream sources. And especially like for all of us, like I think we should have a campaign to unplug, not watch TV, and really not participate in the mainstream media. Because it is just it's all a bunch of shill nonsense. And
I do agree, but you know what, man? There's some really good mainline music out there. And let me say, for instance, Green Day's last 2 albums. I think American Idiot is a amazingly important album. It's even going beyond an album. It's going to be a Broadway show and a play. I think it's very important. I think 21st Century Breakdown, their latest, is very important. With lines in the title track, which is called 21st Century Breakdown, video games, watch the towers fall, Homeland Security here to kill us all. That wakes up millions of kids, whether it's on, the subconscious level, they hear that. And music is such a powerful tool that literally sounds can change brain waves like that. much more than a person talking to you or even visuals. Sound is a powerful, powerful tool. And I'm not here to preach to the choir. I'm trying to bring in more of a mainline audience so they hear a Green Day song, or they hear Stained, or they hear Nirvana or System of a Down, and they say, hey, what's this guy talking about? At least he's got decent taste in music. I'm going to get into that more on the other side. I thank you for the call, Greg. We're going to go to Steve, Chuck, Eric, and more. It's the Info Warrior. Whoa! All right, we are back. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas. There's some of that mainline music that I love so much. And, you know, I've had some pretty hardcore Christians call into the show and tell me I need to watch They Sold Their Soul for Rock and Roll. And I have watched 2 out of the 4 hours of it. And I got to tell you, you know, some of it's valid. Some of it is just too much for me. I mean, I look at them targeting people like the Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera. And yeah, are they selling sex to kids? You bet they are. Okay. There's no doubt about it. That's more of a Disney agenda. I don't know if that's a Satanist agenda. Maybe it is. I don't know. But then they also target people like Marilyn Manson, who's obviously a Satanist. No kidding. He's an open Satanist. I get it. They target Eminem. And Eminem, to me, has done some really good work. And is some of his stuff way over the line? Shouldn't be heard by children? You know? Yes, of course. It's for adults. Are there 8-year-olds rocking, you know, Eminem haircuts and T-shirts? Yeah, there are. He does have influence over children, but does that mean that he should have to alter his art form? And I don't know. I'm going to watch the next two hours of the thing when I get a chance. It took me a while to watch the first 2 hours of it. I'm not going to lie. It takes me a while to watch anything that gets sent to me. But, you know, I just feel like music is such a powerful tool, and we need to harness that tool in any way that we can to bring more people into the fight. All right, on the other side of this break, I'm going to read Common Sense 2009. And you know what? Someone sent me the bill. I guess it's HR 3200, and it does look like that is in the bill, the chip section. Over the next break, I'm going to try to print out some pages and essentially cover what no one else is covering. I mean, if they put in the bill that somebody needs a medical device installed in them, essentially a chip, they don't use the term RFID, but a chip that would have all your information in your body, an implantable device. Well, that's bad news brown, in my opinion. Steve in Michigan. Steve, you're on the air.
Hi, Jason. How you doing this evening?
Good.
I have a question and a comment. I know that the CIA runs most of everything, like the drugs and the child theft rings. Mm-hmm. Do you know if they run the gangs, the Latino gangs and the black gangs and that?
Well, this is what they do with those. What they do is they find a high level, somebody in like the Latin Kings or MS-13, right? And they don't necessarily say, hey, we're the CIA and we want to make big deals with you. What they do is what they did with Ricky Ross, okay? The CIA didn't import crack cocaine into Los Angeles. What they did is they found Ricky Ross. They used their assets to give him cocaine on consignment. Rick Ross and others figured out how to make crack cocaine, and so essentially the CIA was running the crack cocaine without running the crack cocaine. So what they'll do, even with these gangs, is they will find somebody who they feel is the most efficient leader of the gang, okay? Then they will find an asset who's on the streets who they give high levels of cocaine to, or heroin, or crystal meth, or ecstasy, whatever the drug of choice is at the moment, and that person deals with the gang leader. And the gang leader just thinks that they're dealing with another drug dealer. They don't think that they're dealing with the CIA or the NSA or the FBI in some cases. So that's usually how it works. And if the FBI gets too close in a separate investigation, the CIA will come in and say, no, that's our asset. You need to leave them alone, or you need to arrest somebody on a smaller scale. We're working on a case on this larger one. For instance, in the Iran-Contra scandal. Yeah, exactly. For instance, in the Iran-Contra scandal, the United States needed plausible deniability. So what did they do? Well, they had Israel take millions of dollars and then go into the Czech Republic and other places and get the weapons. Okay, so the United States never has their hands dirty on these weapons. They never even bought these weapons. Then those weapons are given to Black Hawk helicopters, Black Ops people. They fly those down to South America. Okay, those people get the guns. Now, the people that flew down the weapons in South America sometimes wouldn't even bring the drugs back. They would use third-party contractors who, again, didn't know they were working for the CIA or the NSA or the FBI. They would go down, they would get the drugs, and then they would be told to go to U.S. Air Force bases in Arkansas and Florida. And when they got there, they would get paid and they would leave. And they didn't really know whether it was Yeah, I'm going to hold you over. And they didn't know whether or not it was a government operation, but they knew afterwards when they got busted that it was a government op. I can promise you that. And they got busted on other charges, not running drugs for the government. So hold over, Steve. We're going to go to Chuck, Eric, and more on the other side. It's the InfoWarrior with Jason Bermas, PrisonPlanet.tv, InfoWars.com.